All right. Welcome to episode 4. So, today has already started super, super early. I spoke at a private school and performed for them, which is super fun. And here we are. That was like 7 o'clock in the morning. So, my name is Joel Casanova. I'm the owner of Behind Dance, and this talk show exists to help your dance journey be healthy, efficient, and 100% yours. We have a small change to things. You'll be getting me on Mondays, solo episodes, and you'll be getting guests on Wednesdays. So you can add that to your calendar. It's gonna be very fun. Today's conversation specifically is going to be with Julia. She's a student of mine, and she has a very interesting journey. So we'll be talking about where she came from, what she did, and how she incorporates all of who she is into her dance journey. It's very fascinating, and I hope you enjoy. So we're just gonna start this off by giving you like an intro to you. So like, how did you start dancing? Where did you start dancing? What was the context? What was the gateway drug into dance? Like, how did that all happen?
Yeah, so I've been dancing pretty much my entire life, like since childhood. My mom would just take me to a bunch of classes, and I was born and raised in Russia, and all of those classes were so available. But I really got into dancing when I was a teenager. That was the time when I started dancing hip hop, actually, with my friend.
Right.
And we did pretty great. We even participated in some small regional competitions and like city events and things like that. And then unfortunately, I abandoned dancing when I went to med school because my education and my career journey just absorbed a lot of my time. However, dancing was like a leitmotif of my life still, because whenever I would hear any music, I would feel like dancing. I would dance at home just by myself, and I love to just go out with my friends to the bar and dance over there. But I missed it all so much. And once I got done with my training, I came back to dancing, and that's how I found your company and your classes to get re-engaged with that again.
Got it. So was that something? I guess going back to the beginning, is that something that like was encouraged in your house? Like, did you guys dance like as a family? You just like play music in the house, or was it like I want to do this thing? Like when you say your mom took you to classes, like how young was this?
I guess I was just a very I was very prone to. I just enjoyed music so much since the very childhood. Like whenever there would be some concert on the TV, I would dance in front of my parents, and my dad played the guitar. It wasn't something that was necessarily encouraged. I just think that in Russia, like I said, because all of those classes are so available, they're pretty much free. You can take your kid anywhere. And I think my mom just picked up on how I enjoyed music and dancing and like art in general in every shape and form. And that's how it started. And then when I became a teenager, so my brother, actually, he's a rapper, like he's a musician, and so I listened to a lot of hip hop and R&B music growing up. So I think that's how I got interested in hip hop later on, and my friend joined me too. So it was like a mutual activity that kept us motivated, and it was just a lot of fun.
Got it. That totally goes into the question I was about to ask you. So like having taken classes here, I know you mentioned when you started taking my lessons, like going to being in Pennsylvania, and you also took classes there, and so you've taken multiple different places, like in America versus Russia. So like, have you seen a difference in mindset in Russia dancing versus in America dancing? And like, what could we learn from each other based off of having experienced both? Because obviously I've experienced like Texas and Virginia, and those are kind of two different cultures, but like it's vastly different going from a different country, you know?
That's a great question, which is going to be not that easy for me to answer because there was such a big gap between the classes that I took in Russia versus America. When I took my classes in Russia, it was like a teenager group class that was it just was so different to what I'm doing right now. I think in general, I'm gonna say that it it's the similarities are there. I think all the basic stuff is pretty much similar. As far as the culture, though, I think, maybe in the bigger cities in the United States, it's a little bit similar to Russia, because I think I'm following a lot of dancers on Instagram, Russian dancers on Instagram, and I feel like a lot of dancing classes are these days are like very social media oriented. So they try to learn choreo to like some music that is trending, record it on every lesson, because that's how they can go viral and attract more audience and more students. And I think it's a little more glamorized and advertised. That's what I'm going to say. But that's how everything works in Russia, actually. Everything is just like very glamorized, I'm going to say. As opposed to here, I mean, I didn't take many classes. I took a couple of classes in Pennsylvania, and it was good. And actually, these guys were trying to record everything on Instagram too, and they did pretty well. And then I took your classes, but again, I'm having different experience because it's personal classes which I've never taken before. And I think what I've noticed about our classes was different. I think you're bringing to your lessons maybe some other subcultures of the other dancing styles, as opposed to just doing pure hip hop. So that is something that I have not practiced before. But in general, I think I need probably more experience to shape a proper opinion on that. But that's all I have
Yeah,
to say.
got it. So, going back to what you said earlier, you said that like medical school took up a lot of your time. So, you still danced like at home. You still like enjoyed music. When you heard music, you wanted to dance. So, like, what was the mindset? Was it just like I literally don't have any time, or was there like a block of like, no, I'm in med school now. I have to do something different.
Um, I'm gonna say time constraints probably. I mean, obviously, medicine does absorb you, and it does make you feel at times like you're just a shell of a person you used to be. But I think it was for me, it was mostly that I was just like so focused on building my career that required so many time and just so many like such a commitment that I felt like everything that I'm gonna do outside of medicine is gonna like count against me almost. And then it's just became a habit, once you stop doing things you used to enjoy, you just don't prioritize them anymore. And so it took me a while to actually start thinking about what's important to me and what I enjoy doing besides medicine, to kind of bring myself back to normal life. And that has happened relatively recently. I'm going to say maybe in the past 3 years, I've been really deeply thinking about how important it is to pursue your hobbies, which are not necessarily something that is going to make you like a better professional, or like, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
it's going to make you more content for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I was, I saw on your Instagram you had this when you went to New York and you did the cardboard signs with all the different messages on it,
Yeah.
which is really cool because you've done that multiple times and it's like a really great brand for you to be like, hey, this is what I have to say, and it matches really well. But because a lot of people will put stuff on like cardboard signs that are like awful, they're just like saying random stuff. But one of the things that really stuck out to me was the idea of like can you save lives and still live yours? Like that phrase, I was like, geez, like that's really I think important for people to hear about. So like what brought you to that mindset where you're like, I need to do both of these things? Like was there a specific moment that made you click, or then you were like, I need to say this not just to myself but to others? Because it's one thing to like shift your path in life, but it's another thing to be like, okay, I'm gonna make sure other people say this, and some people agree, some people don't agree, but this is my perspective, this is my truth that I've experienced.
Yeah, I think for me, I was never really absorbed by medicine so much, and I never identified myself just as a doctor deep inside. But I had to almost like play a role of being just a doctor in order to achieve things that I wanted to achieve because I'm an overachiever 100%. But then at some point of my life, and that was actually during residency, it was my second year of residency, I just felt so deeply burned out and unhappy. And I just started, I went into therapy and I started thinking as to why I feel so unhappy, although everything about my life was kind of perfect from the outside, but didn't deep inside I felt very empty, and I felt like literally I became a shell of a person that I used to be, and didn't I felt like I'm not seen the way I want to be seen by the community, and I attract the wrong people. Like when you don't produce the energy you want to produce, when you don't do things you enjoy, you attract the wrong audience to yourself, wrong friends. Like so, you're just becoming like a shade of yourself. And so I started to think about that, and then I realized that I need to pause on trying to achieve everything in my career immediately, because I felt like I've been putting my life on pause for more than 15 years, because like medical school journey is a long time, and I'm like getting old in a sense where you're expected to do adult things, but you still feel frustrated because you haven't necessarily done whatever you wanted to do while you're still young. So that was my second year of residency, and that's when I decided not to go into training again, and just like get my things in order, get my green card, and pause for a second. And right now, my lifestyle and my work schedule thankfully allows me to pursue all of the hobbies. So this idea was like growing in my mind for 2 years almost before I went with the boards. And I just wanted to do Instagram, I wanted to do video editing, and that was just another way for me to express what was growing inside of me for a long time. But the board thing was just something very random, and that's how I decided to express it. But this idea was like there for a while.
Yeah, it's I find it funny how many times like random things like that end up being like some of the most powerful. Like, oh, I just tried something and it was like hit and it was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's so even kind of bleeds into community, right? So like you said, you had that energy of like I'm not satisfied, so you kind of attracted those same people. So it's not just like a, I guess like a victimless crime. Like you're not only hurting yourself, but it's also like, you know, kind of perpetuating this community of people. So I totally relate to the overachiever thing, right? Like my family has always been like, we got to do all the things, and we've learned to be like, all right, like there's time for everything. Um, so how does that shape your idea about like dance as a hobby and dance as a career? Because a lot of times, at least from someone who does it as a career, there's a lot of people who kind of see like, okay, well, you're a hobbyist, so you're not really dancing. And I've seen so many people who are like much happier and sometimes even better than people who are doing it as a career. And I'm like, we've got this wrong. Like as someone who takes lessons, like, and isn't trying to like pursue it as a career and like kind of be the overachiever thing of like, well, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it as a career, and this is gonna be my life now. Like, what is the mindset that keeps you like, no, I'm still a doctor, no, I'm still Julia, no, I'm still a dancer? Like, when you put all those things together and it makes you a full person, how, what, what mindset keeps you from like leaning one way versus the other?
Because I think it's very boring to have just one angle defining you as a person. So I just want people to look at me and be like, wow, you are a doctor. Remember on our first or like whenever our second lesson, maybe you asked me what I do for my living, and I told you that I'm a doctor, and you're like, what, like just a doctor? And that's exactly the reaction I'm looking for. And I'm not doing it for everybody else. I just, you
Yeah.
know, I feel like right now I'm probably the person I wanted to be growing up. Like I wanted to be everything, like a little bit of everything. Like you can pursue your career and be serious enough, but at the same time you can be fun outside of your work. You can have a tattoo, you can dance, you can travel, you can have a dog, and like you can, have a relationship, and maybe be silly at times. And I think that's what makes a person wholesome. Like it's just, I find people who are like that very interesting, versus like what I was talking about, attracting the wrong people. I'm actually very bored by people who are just pursuing one thing, abandoning everything else. I think that's just not very healthy, and that's kind of boring. And I think we have more to ourselves just than our occupation, basically.
Yeah. Wow. Have you ever felt like pushback against that idea? Because I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong. This is the whole point of this talk show. Like, I'm like, this is the conversations that people need to hear. Like, like we are fed a narrative, and it's like, well, you're choosing one or the other, and you're like, no, I want to do everything, and so far you've been doing everything. So like, have you ever felt like a pushback from either like dance community or even like the medical community, and be like, no, you have to choose one? Or have you? Did that depend on the people you're around, or?
I mean, from the dance community, I don't really have anyone to judge me, because I'm not trying to pursue a professional career, and I'm not there to prove that I'm a good dancer. I'm just doing it so I can enjoy myself, and I can maybe improve in that, and be a little better in that. But as far as medical community, there is so much pressure. There's so many unspoken rules about how doctors should behave, how they should look like. But then, at the end of the day, you just realize that it doesn't really matter what others think. And even if someone gives you a look or an attitude, or like they look at your social media and they think whatever, that you're not serious enough, how does that even affect your life? It really doesn't. And this idea, like when you realize that you're only living your life for yourself, and no one else, and no one really cares, that everyone only cares about themselves, actually, and they don't even pay that much attention to you. Like they might say something or think something that is, but it's going to be like a one moment of their day that they think about you. So I think just like make and realizing that life is not so serious, and everyone's opinions are not so serious either. They're not going to affect anything, they're not going to physically hurt you, and your people, your friends, are still going to be there for you no matter how silly you are. I think gave me just the self confidence to do whatever I want, and people can think whatever they want about me, because it's just my life that I'm living, and I don't care honestly what others think.
Yeah, no, that's valid. So, kind of taking that same framework, um, say we introduce someone else into this conversation, right? And they're like, I want to dance and I love dancing. This is what I love doing. But I also want to do this other thing, whether it's another artistic thing or whether it's like having nothing to do with arts, but the only artistic thing they do is dance, right? So they're like, I want to do both. Like, how would you walk them through that? Like, there's like a cold turkey approach where you're just like, do all of it right now. But like, if I was like, I can't just do all of it right now, like, help me walk through that. Like, how would you kind of like take baby steps with them?
I think there are times in our lives when we have to dedicate ourselves to something in order to succeed there. Like, probably I wouldn't change some of the parts of my journey, and I would still get absorbed by medicine at some point of my life, just so I can push through it, and then, pursue my career. And once I have a little more space, I can feel something in. It's just a matter of realizing when you start to have a little bit of this time, so you can dedicate it to something else, and just plan it. Even if you're tired, if you have this time, if you have a little bit of this availability, just build it in. Because I think realizing that burnout is real, and realizing that it's important to actually commit to actions and force yourself to do those actions is the core. Like no one is gonna find this opportunity for you. No one is gonna go and sign up for this lesson for you. You just gotta do it. You just gotta do it one time, and then you try, and if you like it, you're just gonna get absorbed by that, and it's gonna go easier. But I think, it's okay to have times when you you cannot pursue anything besides what you do for your job, but also, like, whenever you feel that you're just going with the flow because you're lazy and you catch yourself in the moment, just go ahead and schedule that lesson, and everything is going to go smoothly from that point. I think I wish I did it earlier. I think I lost the moment when I actually had time, but I felt like I shouldn't allow myself to do that because I have to stay committed. So that's not true. You don't have to stay committed all the time. You got to distinguish in between when you're actually required to do things versus it's your mind telling you that you're not allowed to do anything besides that. And that's just conversation in your own mind with yourself, I think.
So like actively take the time to think through, like, am I just like in this river being pulled along, or am I actually, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because again, you have to, like, at some point of your life, like early 20s, or your teens, there are times when you have to study. You just got to do it. That's how our society, organized education, all this system. But this time passes, and once you have some time to actually bring yourself back to the person you used to be, it's important to just do it.
Do you have, well, first question, do you dance when you travel during those 14 days that you're not working at the hospital? Like, do you find other dance events, or do you keep the dancing to where you live?
I don't dance when I travel. I only dance when I'm physically here
Okay.
in
Uh,
Norfolk.
so like follow up with that, how do you feel like, if that's kind of like a part of you that you decide to keep so that you're like a full person, right? Like when you enter into other subjects, do you feel like it like affects those other subjects? You're like, okay, because I dance, I think in this way, or I'm free to do these things. Like, is there like a freedom that comes, or is there like an information based thing that comes? Let me phrase that differently. Like, so
I,
you have several different parts of
yeah,
yourself. Like, do other things like dance inform the other, affect or inform the other parts of your life?
I think it's just once you allow yourself to do whatever you want, it just starts blowing your life. Like, opportunities come and you just feel comfortable doing whatever you want, and because you don't have to necessarily pursue those things as a, like, professionally, you feel a little freedom. Like, if I take class today but I don't take it for the next month, it's fine because I'm just doing it for myself, and there's really no one watching or judging you or anything. It's just so I think it becomes very easy to do everything in your own pace and in your own flow, as long as you don't have certain expectations, which you might. I mean, some people, they start dancing professionally even, or they sign up for marathon, and that's also the part of their journey, and
Uh,
it's fine. And maybe one day i'll I like I will realize I want to participate in some, like, small dancing competition, and it's okay. But as of now, I'm just doing it to just become better for myself, purposelessly, because I enjoy it.
Cool, cool. Um, I suppose just to wrap everything up, there's this very product centered mindset, at least in America, and I'm sure it is like very cross cultural. But it's like, okay, I'm doing this thing. How what is the product outside of this? Like, what am I getting from this? Like, what can I show now that I've done this thing? Like, how would you describe doing it for yourself as something that gives you like life? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you kind of like phrase that in a way that it's a product? Not that it is a product literally, but like you said, like it's giving you like mental health, like you're loving the life that you have. Like you even said, like I'm living the life that I imagined of myself as a little kid. Like I'm doing all of it, you know. So like, how would you describe someone who thinks in that product mindset? How dance gives to you?
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't participate in competitions or you record yourself, you're still getting better in that. So whenever you go out with your friends to some dancing party, you're gonna feel that you're a better dancer, and everyone is gonna feel that you're a better dancer. You can sense and feel music better, and maybe your dancing vocabulary is just more diverse at that moment, and that's number one. Number two is just, I don't know, telling people that you do this. That's a big product out of it, because people are usually very surprised when, like, I tell them that I do hip hop. I'm like 29. I'm a doctor. It just doesn't fit into their perception of how life should work, how doctors should look like, what they should do. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so that's also, that's also something you're getting from it emotionally. Uh, but besides that, I don't know. Like you said, mental health for sure. Like just the way you feel about yourself, that you're just like a better dancer, and you are just a cool person.
Yeah. I am a cool person.
I am a cool
Daily
person.
affirmations. No,
Yes.
thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Like, obviously, you know, especially like you said, the second time we had our lesson, I was like, "What do you do?" You know, and you're like, "Oh, I'm a doctor," and I was like, "That's awesome." You know, like I didn't even know. You know,
It's like,
and it's
doctor is
so
supposed
unassuming. You know,
to wear a suit maybe outside of work, probably, or like a white
come
coat
in with
every
like scrubs and like a doctor's coat, and
scrubs,
like a
exactly, or like
stethoscope. You know.
yeah, have a very serious face, or like look certain way. No, we're just humans, unfortunately or fortunately.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Of course, it was a pleasure.
All right. So go out there and do all the things. Yeah, we are very multifaceted people, and Julie is a perfect example of that. Um, that is her Instagram handle. So follow her. She has great stuff. It's funny stuff. Um, you can go to my website or my Instagram, and you feel free to DM me at any time. Um, we have Hip Hop Musicality happening February 2nd, and it's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited. I'm already planning out the curricula and everything. So, um, don't just feed this, and don't just feed this. Do both. Even if you don't take Hip Hop Musicality, which you totally should, because it's gonna be fun. Um, your mindset and your dance journey is affected by both, right? How much you grow, but also how much you grow here. So, I'm gonna put the information on the screen. I'll leave it up there so you can write it down, I guess, or put it into the notes on your phone or whatever you do. And Monday, we're gonna have another solo episode, and I'll give you a whole like preview into what happens next Wednesday. So that's gonna be the cycle that we're gonna be going through. Like I said, you can totally DM me or get on my website and ask any questions that you have. I'm totally open. If you want to take classes, I also do online stuff. I'm very accessible, right? And so one of the ideas behind Be Hunter, besides making your dance journey healthy, efficient, and 100% yours, is to extend that to people anywhere and everywhere. Yeah. So even if you're out of state, out of country, hit me up. I'd love to talk or teach you. Okay. Have a great day.